Okay, so the next kind of question out of that is it possible to teach emotional intelligence? So kids, our family, our spouse, maybe our community, like, is it possible to transfer what we've learned about emotional intelligence and teach people how to do it?
Yeah, absolutely. And I think that it comes with a lot of different tools. Like you can get the feelings wheel.
Mm-hmm.
I know that they even sell like a poster size of that. They have.
Ashley will
Yeah.
help you get it on a
She's
pillow
got a
if you
pillow
need
know,
to.
it's awesome.
Yeah, ornament, a sticker. Yeah.
Yeah, they even have these signs that you can purchase that have the little emoji with the feeling word next to it to help children learn. Because
I've seen that with a magnet. You can move the magnet onto what
I love
face
that.
describes you for
Yes.
kids.
I wish
Yeah.
people had magnets on their chest, which told me exactly how they feel today.
Yeah, but I think that there's a lot that you can do with that. I think even with adults that there's a way that you can use emotional intelligence to help other people around you develop that as well. I know that there have been times in my marriage with Michael that he'll be in a funk about something. And for the most part, I pretty much let him, go
Brood
through
by
whatever,
himself in the
whatever
corner.
that's
Yeah,
going to
right.
look like. And I don't take it on. But there have been a couple times where I'll just flat out say, you know what, you're choosing to be in this mood and you like the way it feels, but it is rubbing off on the people around you and it's not helpful or healthy for you. And so a better approach might be this, or this. And because I don't know, how do you tell somebody that you don't get to feel what you feel? It's not that
Sure,
as much
yeah.
as it is after that window of feeling time has happened and somebody's in a point where they like how it's making them feel and they're almost gaining energy off of it, but it's in an unhealthy, unhelpful way to be able to say, maybe you need to go for a run. Maybe you need to go lift weights. Maybe you need to, some other way to process that rather than it coming out spewing on the people around you.
Over
Yes.
probably
So-
days and weeks, if
Right.
not processed. Yeah,
Right.
for sure.
And because there has to be this balance that comes from that awareness, being able to sit in the discomfort and at the same time be able to recognize in an emotional, intelligent way to say, this feeling is harming me. It's harming the people I love. And I need to do something different with it because I'm so dysregulated by it that it's not helpful. You know what I mean? So I think there's all kinds of things that you can do like that. That one, like with another adult, you have to be careful with that one. So I don't think that it's, like depending on the relationship that you can come home and say, well, I think you're dysregulated and you need to stop it.
You're
That's
being
not what I'm
stupid
saying. Yeah,
right
that's
now.
not what
Yeah,
I'm
right.
saying.
Yes.
It just is that recognizing that if we know that an emotion is taking place and it's there for a reason, how am I going to proactively manage that so it doesn't hurt the people around me?
That was my thought. Like so many other things, it's key how we come across. And if we think teaching others means, well, I am so emotionally intelligent, let me tell you how unintelligent you are. Like that's not going to be received well in any context. But if emotional intelligence is walking into that situation aware, wow, there's something going on here. What could I do to help support them or bring that out in a way that could be redemptive for them and not accusatory or critical? And it's like with my kids, it's using phrases just like, hey, bud, I mean, it seems like you're feeling something. Are you able to explain what it is? Can you describe what's going on in your head right now? I'm here. I'd just love to process or listen. And sometimes they say no, and sometimes they say yes. And so I just was thinking about one of those with my son that turned into a lot of surprising emotion from he's not always good at expressing his emotion. So once he did, it was like, wow, there was a lot going on there. And it just came, I think, because I was able to sit and let him at first be very silent. Could tell he was thinking really big things and I wasn't pestering, come on, what's going, get over it. Or it was just like letting him at his pace start to share. And when he did, then it was like the fountain kind of opened up and I got to be there for that. And it was like, oh, that was really cool. I don't think I could have done that earlier in life. And learning with my wife, like many of us do, to just come in and be like, what's wrong, is not a good opening question. And sometimes I still do that, but trying to take a different approach of saying, it seems like something's bugging you. Do you want to talk about it? And if she's like, no, like, cool, I'm gonna take a breather and, walk away from
Circle
that.
back to that one. Yeah.
But sometimes she will express like, this is really bugging me. And it's like, oh yeah, I kind of knew that. And then I can figure out how to respond. So I think in those moments, without saying I'd like to teach you emotional intelligence, you're inviting people to be in touch with what they're feeling. And when it's appropriate, if there's a conversation that happens, I think they're learning from that. And also, as in so many areas of life, when we're being honest about what we're learning and humbly expressing, boy, here's an area that I missed it, here's what I've learned. When we share about what we're learning in our own emotional intelligence, that's actually teaching people about emotional intelligence, because their brain is translating like, oh, that happens for me too. And maybe I need to think about how I'm responding. And so without ever telling them, well, I hope you do this too, we're teaching by what we're modeling.
I think it's interesting that Nick said he was going to make me cry earlier and he made himself cry. No, and I appreciate the emotion. I mean, it shows that this is a very live and active thing that happens every day. And, one of the things that we do, and I can't even remember why we started it, but I just remember starting highs and lows with our kids. And it's funny. We have no problem coming up with highs. You know what I mean? like, and Brooks still doesn't understand highs and lows. So sometimes he'll say like, my high is that daddy went to work and my low is that he came home. And I'm like, oh, what? I don't think that's what you mean. Or maybe it is, and that's sad. But I like, one of the things that I've seen is with Brady specifically, our 6-year-old, sometimes he doesn't have a low and I'll press him on that. I'm like, no, like, let's talk about this for a second. What was your least favorite part of the day? It doesn't mean it has to be this awful part, but like, trying to create that space where we're not going to ignore negative, experiences or the emotions that came from those experiences. And I feel like that has been a really practical, easy way. We're not spending 45 minutes. It's literally, if we go around the table, the 4 of us, it takes 6 minutes max, And so it's something though, that continual opening. It's funny, the last episode we recorded with Rodney and Tracy, it's that consistency, the reinforcing that this is a safe place to feel all the emotions that you have. And so I feel like for us, that's been a really easy and almost silly thing that we've done that has created a lot of really cool opportunities. But that's just maybe something people could start doing right now with their kids.
And I think that part of this process is just being able to recognize that there are going to be times when we feel something and we don't know what that is. And I had this happen within the last couple months that I came home from an event and I walk in the door and I'm crying. And Michael's looking at me like, what's wrong? And I'm like, I don't even know, but for some reason it's coming out as crying right now. And so I just need to figure out what this is, because I was having a physiological response to something that, and my brain hadn't gone through the process of interpreting what I was feeling that was creating that, And so it's just being able to, again, give yourself time and space to sit in it and to be able to put words to it so that it makes sense.
As you shared that, I was thinking how interesting it is with our kids. We will often use that phrase, use your words, not your fists or your kicking or your yelling or whatever. Use your words. Tell me what's going on. And I think sometimes as adults, we maybe need that invitation of, can you use your words? Can you describe what you're feeling, what's going on? And that can lead to just good results. Let me try to put into words. And that's the whole corpus callosum thing in the brain, right? Like feelings are on one side and logic and reason on the other. And sometimes it's connecting what I'm experiencing into words. And if we can, maybe in the moment we can't, but at some point, that's the goal here. I'm trying to put into words what's going on inside or in my body.
Absolutely.
Now, this has been a super good conversation. I think all of us would acknowledge we have room to grow in emotional intelligence. It feels like one of those areas that the more you know, the less you feel like you know, and the more you need to grow.